Hi. Oh, good. All right, so this is more people than I expected. I'm very excited. This is good for all of us, that there are a lot of us. Okay, so I think I want to be here from the microphone. You guys can't feel me breathing, can you? Good. So for the purpose of this panel, I would encourage you, if you can, to compress a little bit, or at least to make sure you're sitting on a row with other people. I know this is scary, but the whole point of the panel, face your fears. So if you're filling in, if you're coming in, like, please sit where other people are. You don't have to look at them yet. Yes, yeah, face your fears, you'll conquer them, and that's what we're here for. Let me go ahead and grab this a bit more. There we go. So, welcome to the Overcoming Shyness panel. As you can probably tell, I am not the most shy person in the world, but we'll get more to that later. Am I okay? Oh, I'm good, okay. So I just have to make sure when you see the tech guy sneaking by, you worry. So, the purpose of this panel is to make friends. Who here, by the way, is here because they like Earthbound and recognize our reference? Yes! Good, good. My people, thank you. So, let's see. Where's my phone? Let me get my notes up, actually. I was so excited about handing out candies that I completely forgot to do this stuff. So if you guys will just bear with me, you can sing a little song, do a little dance. No. Okay, so first of all, I want to congratulate you guys for coming here. I don't know if being in this room is hard for any of you guys. If looking at the clock, you were like, I should go to that panel. I should go to the panel. I'm probably going to have to talk to people, and that's hard. So I think I'm going to stay in my hotel room and just not do it. But you didn't do that. Like, every single one of you guys took that first step. And maybe for some of you it was easy, and maybe for some of you it was hard. But if it was hard, like, you have the momentum. You've already done the first hard step, and the rest of the steps will get easier from here. So I really mean that honestly. I'm not being patronizing. I have been that person who has let the opportunity pass by because it seemed hard. So, like, seriously, you did this, and you should be proud of yourselves, because overcoming shyness is a very hard thing to do, and committing to it is a very important step. So let's go ahead and get started. What is this panel about? Who here's played Final Fantasy VI? Yes! Even more. My favorite Final Fantasy II, Locke Cole, is the best character. So, most of the Final Fantasy games have something called the beginner's house. You go in there and they tell you how to use a save point, they tell you how to fight, which hopefully we won't be doing today. But the point of this is to get you familiar in a safe space where, in this case, you have a bunch of dudes with weird hats. And the dudes with weird hats will answer your questions, and you don't have to worry about not knowing what you're doing. And if you die in there, you're fine. Please don't die. But this is your safe space. MAGFest is your safe space, and this panel in particular is your beginner's house. We're going to go over some rules. We're going to practice some rules. If we mess up, we won't die. It's okay. I can revive you, my child. I love you too. So who am I? This was going to have a picture of me, but I didn't. Okay. So I'm Lauren the Flute. I lead the returners. I am a socially awkward extrovert, which is a really uncomfortable place to be. So the social awkward introvert is like, if I say that, it's gonna be dumb, so I won't say it. I say it, and then I'm like, oh, that was dumb. Which doesn't actually mean it was dumb. That is my anxiety brain talking. Don't listen to the anxiety brain. So I talk too much. Hi. I have anxiety, as I've mentioned, and that is something that probably a number of us wrestle with, formally or informally, yeah. And it tells you stuff and you think it's true, it's not, and it's hard to get past it, but I'm working on that too. I talk to strangers. If you run into me in an elevator, I'll be like, hey, how's your MAGFest going? And you're like, who is this strange person? And then, hi, I'm Lauren. Hi, I'm Daisy. So let's start with a story. Telephones, they're scary. I love the invention of the text message because I don't have to call people. Yeah, you feel me on that one. So my parents decided when I was a little girl that I needed to overcome my fear of the telephone. And so they said, okay, well, you want pizza, right? And I was like, well, yes. They're like, well, you have to call and order the pizza. And I was like, oh, no. And they were like, well, if you want the pizza, you better order the pizza. So I was like, okay, fine. What are they going to say? And how do I answer that question? So I plotted out the entire conversation from hello, like, I want to place an order for delivery. When you're like 8 years old, you don't know that's the phrase you use. You have to learn that. And then, okay, well, what kind of pizza do you want? Well, you have to know in advance that you have to know in advance what kind of pizza you want. And so I planned out the entire thing, and I had this Post-it note. And I would stick it by the phone, and every time, which was every week, because they made me do this every week, I would call and order pizza, and I would look at my Post-it note. And sometimes they would ask me a question that wasn't on the Post-it note. That wasn't so good. But it got better. And eventually I didn't need the Post-it note anymore. And so kind of what I'm going with that, and by the way, yes, Earthbound, yes. So talking to people is a skill. Okay, if you don't know RPGs, I'm sorry. There's a lot of RPG lingo here because that is my world. But so it's a skill, and you gain experience by doing it. So you can improve at talking to people. It can be something that you feel like you're terrible at. Maybe we shouldn't phrase it that way. Maybe it's a thing we can get better at. Maybe it's a thing we can get more comfortable with. But you can. Whether it's by having a Post-it note or a mental Post-it note or finding something else that works for you, it is something that you can overcome. I used to be really gregarious and outgoing and talkative, and then I became socially anxious and I couldn't talk to anybody. And I kind of had to come out of my shell. And that process happened, and as you can see, I may say things that I think are dumb. Like after this panel, I will probably kick myself and be like, oh, why did I do that? But I'm doing better, and so can you. So MAGFest is the perfect place for us to gain these experience and levels. There's a couple of reasons here why. Yes, that is an Undertale reference. I'm sorry, I will have butterscotch cinnamon cookies for you later. After the panel, if you see me with my Tupperware container, that's what's up. So, why is MAGFest the safe space? Well, first of all, we've got something in common with, I would say 99.9%. If you are at MAGFest and you don't like video games, I'm sure you find other things here, but most of us, gamers? Yes, gamers? Yes. So that means that these are all people you have at least some baseline thing in common with, which makes conversation easier. It's also a safe space because some of these people you may never see again. So if you say something, you're like, oh, that conversation failed. Well, that's okay. Move on to the next one. It's okay. They'll let it go. You'll let it go. Life goes on, which is very hard because your anxiety brain is going to tell you everybody knows that everybody hates you. That's anxiety brain. Don't listen to it. And then finally, on the subject of people understanding you, everybody at MAGFest falls into one of three categories. They are awkward and shy. They used to be awkward and shy, or they have friends who are awkward and shy. So if you consider yourselves awkward and shy, you are in good company, because so are the rest of us in some way or other. So with that, I want you guys to give yourselves permission to talk to people, understanding that these are your friends, these are your allies, these are your potential party members, and they're going to be open to conversation in a way that you may not feel comfortable talking to people outside of MAGFest. Plus, you'll have your NPCs. There's one up there too. We're your tutorial NPCs, and if you are talking to people or you want to practice talking to somebody and you see me, you can go, hi Lauren, conversation starter. And I'll say, hi. You can say, I was at your panel. I'm like, oh really? Conversation goes. So there are safe places and safe people to talk to here. Also, I think this is probably where we want to make friends because we have things in common with each other. Because at least I know with me, having friends who are gamers makes it easier because that's what I like to do. So how do we do that? It's me. Okay, so here's the first step. And this is why I wanted to encourage you guys to not be in a row alone. Turn to a person beside you and say hello. Hey. Good. You did? You did? Okay. I know her, so I can give her a hard time. All right. So let's go ahead. We'll be talking more later, but this is good. This is very good. I was expecting, worst case scenario, I would say hi, and they'd go, hi. So then I was going to say, now tell them your name and ask theirs, but I think a lot of you guys got that. Did anybody get to so what games do you like, or why are you here, or any sort of thing beyond that? This guy's from Delaware, there you go. That is a perfect example of how to continue a conversation. There are a few basic things. They may seem boring, they may seem scripted, but they get started. And in the very worst case scenario, you are grinding. So if you have a conversation, you're like, okay, I asked about the weather and said, oh, I've been to visit where you're from and my mom lives nearby. You don't have a friend, but you got experience. And that's still valuable. So I want to encourage you to do that. Now, what do we do from here? Oh, actually, sorry, went ahead. Hi, Brenneman. This is Brenneman, my lovely assistant. Hey, I'm Lauren.
Hi, I'm Brenneman.
So I see you wearing a Steven Universe shirt. Do you like Steven Universe a lot?
I do like Steven Universe quite a bit.
So who's your favorite character? Is it Steven?
Oh my gosh, so I really like Steven, but I would say my favorite character is Garnet. Yeah, right?
So Garnet is a mom figure. Do you think moms are cool?
I mean, I think my mom is cool. Sometimes I think goat moms are cool. Yeah, moms are pretty rad.
Well, thank you, Brenneman. I gotta go, but it was nice talking to you.
It was nice talking to you too.
Okay, so yes, awkward, we're in front of a stage, very scripted, but that sort of thing. Now, did you notice there's a pattern to the conversation? We learned, I mean, we know each other, but if we didn't know each other, we would learn things. Now I know what he likes, I know why he likes it, we've talked about it, and we could continue a conversation. I could say, oh man, that episode with Garnet, do you see the thing? And spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. But that's fun. So the thing here, now I'm gonna hit the button. Now it's gonna be right. Look, it's a Western RPG. I'm so proud of myself. So, branching dialogue is questions. You don't want to have the Spanish Inquisition, but that is a great way to get a conversation going. I know that when you get shy and nervous, sometimes you just want to talk about yourself because you know that and you don't know what else to say. You want to know this other person, so ask them questions. If they're wearing something, that's a great clue. Steven Universe. Somebody else was dressed in a Steven shirt back there, I think. Yes, you. Excellent.
I want to be friends with that guy.
Yeah, see now he's going to go over there and talk to you about Steven. So there are visual cues. This is another reason why MAGFest is a great choice, because you can see we wear our nerd colors, cosplayers literally wear our nerd colors, but so you can kind of say, okay, I love this, I love that, and I can talk to somebody about that thing. So some basic tips for conversation. I'm sorry, my microphone cable, I'm doing bad things with it. So basic tips. We've all been there. Oh gosh, you're gonna think I'm dumb and bad, and I really am not very good at things, and I don't know what I'm doing, and it just gets really awkward. For you, you feel bad about yourself. The other person doesn't want you to be sad, and so they're sad, and everybody's sad, and just kind of the mood sinks. So instead of doing that, I don't know if you've seen, there's a meme going around that says instead of apologizing, say thank you. I apologize way too much, and I've been working on it for years. But it's a really good idea to take that negative feeling and turn it into something positive. So instead of putting yourself down, lift the other person up, because it's a lot easier to compliment someone else. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but like self-esteem is actually really hard. But you feel good when you tell somebody something good about themselves, and it doesn't have to be fake. Think about like what is actually good. Like, man, that is a really cool hat you've got, Brenneman. Right? Yeah, no, it's a really cool hat.
Weird hat, beginner house.
Yeah, so there you go. He's our beginner house weird hat guy. But so find something genuine. But go ahead and say that positive thing. And if you feel that negativity, think, how can I say something that's going to make me feel better and make them feel better? Other bits. We worry about saying the perfect thing. We think if we say it wrong, nobody's gonna like us, but if we say it just right, they will. That's the secret. There's gotta be a secret to conversation. That is, I struggle with that a lot myself, and that's hard because it's hard to judge that when your anxiety brain is telling you that it's true. So if you didn't hear, what he's asking is what happens if you're talking to someone and you're worrying like the whole time, what if this person doesn't like me? That can be a complicated thing. I would say if you want to get comfortable with it, try to have short conversations at first, and if the person kind of leans into the conversation, and you can keep going. If not, you can leave, and then if you come back to that person later, if you think they're really cool, and try to have another conversation. If they're busy, and then you try again and they're busy, that's usually a soft no. But if they're like, oh, hey, and they're happy to talk to you again, that is proof. And sometimes proof can get through that anxiety brain. You can be like, okay, this person had the option to not talk to me, and they chose to talk to me. And as much as you can cling to that, as they chose that, they made that choice. For me, sometimes that's what it takes. I don't know if that'll help you, but I would recommend trying it and see if it helps. I hope it helps. I'm sorry I can't give a magical solution. That's one thing I was worried. I was like, if I do this panel badly, I'm gonna let everyone down, and they're gonna be sad or angry, and it's gonna be an unfortunate situation for everybody. But you gotta try. And so I worked really hard and practiced for this, and I hope that'll be helpful for some of you. You have a question?
Not a question, just a comment. No matter what happens, we got candy.
That's true. You did get candy, and please don't hate your goat mom. See, there's the self-deprecation though, so we don't do that, so thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, on that note, say what you mean. Don't get tripped up on what you're going to say. As long as you try to say it kindly, or if you accidentally, because this happens sometimes, if you accidentally say something and you're like, ooh, that sounded wrong. Sorry, that's not what I meant. I actually meant this. I really didn't mean to hurt your feelings. Smooths over a lot. And so if you're like, a conversation enders, it's really good to be honest. Sorry, I gotta go. Bye. Instead of like, gosh, how do I end a conversation? Because that's really hard. I'm working on that myself. But yeah, so try to be honest. Don't worry, because if you start saying the right thing, then you close in on yourself. That anxiety tells you just don't have that conversation. Let's just not be anxious and not do it. But if you give yourself permission, that's a big thing here. I'm Goat Mom. I'm giving you permission to say something to somebody that you might regret saying. That's okay. Sometimes you lose the fight and you have to live from your last save point, but you keep going. So let's use our RPG metaphors a little too much, and hopefully that'll help you guys understand, like, it's not the end of the world. It feels like it. It can be embarrassing. I wish I could tell you that nobody is going to say anything embarrassing in this room, because it would be great to guarantee that. I can't guarantee that, but I can guarantee that life will go on even if that person is you. You will be okay and you will make friends, and there's like, what, 30,000 people here? Something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
So you have an awkward conversation, bye. Look, there's 29,999 people left to talk to. 98, because you're one of them. Close enough? Rounding? Okay, here's another thing. So I practiced this before I came here. I came up with my examples. All of my roommates are probably tired to death of hearing me talk about this panel, because I've been practicing. I just practiced it like an hour and a half ago. That's fine. Remember my Post-it note? Eventually I didn't need that Post-it note. If you need to be in front of the mirror, okay, like, hi, you feel kind of like a dork talking to yourself in the mirror, but it's okay. Again, give yourself permission to do that. You're grinding. You're getting that experience. And if you see somebody cool and you're like, okay, I'm going to talk to that person. What am I going to talk to them about? Like Megaran. He's awesome. He's really friendly. I don't know him super well, so I'm like, okay, I want to talk to Megaran, but going up and be like, hi, you're cool. I can say that, but it's not a conversation. So, oh, he's working on his Soul Veggies project. So I could go up and be like, hey, Megaran, how is Soul Veggies going? I thought about that in advance. That's helpful. Like, seriously, I think there are people who are born brilliant and able to talk to people with ease. I'm not actually one of them. I've also been told there are people who are really good at spatial reasoning in Tetris. I am not one of those either. So if you have to practice, that's okay. And it doesn't matter what level you are. If like making eye contact is hard, I mean, you'll notice I'm like looking kind of over your heads because that's sometimes easier for talking to people. If you are somebody who you can have an easy conversation, but starting that conversation is hard, that's okay too. And I'm sure you're all somewhere in the vicinity, you have some strengths and you have some weaknesses. And wherever you are, that's fine, you can get to the next level. So practice if that helps. And there's no shame in it, because what matters is that you feel good about yourself and you can make the friends you want to make. So, another bit of advice. When you ask somebody a question, you can kind of tell when somebody's listening because they want to jump in. Like so if you're talking to somebody and your whole thing is you're trying to find when you can jump in, that gets hard. It's easier if you listen to somebody, make yourself actually listen. I like to talk so much, but I gotta shut up sometimes and let other people do the talking, which you guys will do soon. But if you listen to somebody and you're like, I want to learn about them, like, you don't have to like memorize it, like I'm taking notes. That's kind of creepy. You're wondering if people think you're a creeper. That's probably not the best way to go. But think about it and listen for the next opportunity for a question. Like, oh, I really like Garnet. Okay, well, what's your favorite episode with her? Something like that. And it doesn't have to be brilliant, because we all want to make friends, and probably the person you're talking to wants to practice too. And then it's not just the Spanish Inquisition, you're going to get asked questions too. And so an easy way of conversation is you ask them a question and then they turn it back around on you. And sometimes the answer is, no, I haven't played that game. I was wondering if I should play it. Don't be shy about being asked questions, because you are the literal expert on your own answers. So like you cannot get it wrong. You're gonna be like, my favorite color is blue. Wait, no! Like, this isn't Monty Python. So relax. You've got this. You've got this. Like, I could ask you your name, counts as experience, and you probably know the answer unless you have amnesia and are a spiky here at RPG hero. So, ending conversations. One note on this. This is really tricky. I am consciously working on improving my ability to end conversations right now, and yet I think I can give a panel. Like I said, there's relative strengths and relative weaknesses. This is a high-level skill. It's okay if you have trouble with it. If you say, you know, I'm really bad at ending conversations, but I've got to go, there's a concert I need to catch, I'll see you later, it's been nice talking, exit. It's great. This is the sort of place where you can say, I'm really bad at ending conversations, but I've got to go. Or, I'm really bad at beginning conversations, but you seem cool. Honesty is better than trying to be slick, or at least I can't be slick. I'm not very slick. Another question?
I have a comment.
A comment?
Like whenever I end conversations, I always preface it with, hey, I know this talk, I'm glad to go to so talk to you later.
Yeah, and so that's perfect. Because then you establish, I like you, you're nice, I'm polite, but I have a legitimate reason to leave. There are probably ways to end conversations other than legitimate reasons to leave. I'm still working on it. But I was totally in a conversation last night, and after I ended it, my friend who I was with was like, you ended that conversation well. Thank you, Wedge. Ness, over there. How am I doing with time? Because we have, oh goodness, we have plenty of time. I'm gonna give you guys a quest. So, we're gonna take about 15 minutes or so, and you're gonna talk to people, and you're gonna try to find, this is not bingo. I thought about giving you guys that icebreaker bingo card, but I'm not a competitive person. Can't we all be friends? So, I don't know how many of you qualify for these categories or not. These can be loosely interpreted. If you speedrun, if you're like, well, actually, I really want to get into speedrunning, that's a conversation. It's not just a yes-no answer, it's like the real deal. So, if you guys don't mind, stand up, talk to somebody, not the person you just said hi to unless you had a really good conversation, and see if you can answer. Find these people.
What's your name? People, you just made conversation for like 40 minutes, 35 minutes, and you're shy. Congratulations. Like, I don't, seriously, I'm not saying this patronizingly. Like, you guys just did the thing that you think you're bad at. And from what I've heard, you guys are doing a great job at it. I hear a lot of laughing. I see a lot of smiling. I see a lot of people making eye contact with each other. That's scary. So congratulations, seriously. Have you learned a few things about what you're capable of? Good, because I want you to be able to take this with the rest of MAGFest. So if you don't mind, you can hang out where you are. If you want to reserve your hanging out with friends, if you're like, don't go, I want to talk to you later. But I'm going to go over a few final closing notes, and then I have one more fun assignment that will kind of bring us into the end of the panel, including take-homes. I'm going to give you guys, hopefully I've got enough for all of you. I did not realize there were going to be so many of you. I should have. I should realize that nerds are awesome people. But so who here completed the quest of all 6? Congratulations! However, the true quest is the friends we made along the way. That is the true prize. So honestly, give yourselves all a round of applause. You did this. So you can do this here. We have just seen firsthand with our own eyes and ears that you guys are capable of doing this at MAGFest. Don't forget that you did this and you can do this again. But how do you do this at home? Well, low-level grinding, like I was telling you, go to the grocery store, checkout lane, how's the weather? It's not a fun, cool, interesting conversation that's going to make you best friends, but it is going to teach you that you can talk to strangers. And a lot, as you've just seen, a lot of the difficulty comes from our own internal hang-ups. And everything we can do to fight down that wall that tells us we can't do it is good. So if having inane conversations with strangers teaches you that you can then move on to having great conversations with strangers, more power to you, there is no shame in it. If you have a nice, friendly, smiling conversation with somebody who's having an awful day in retail, you might make them smile too, and then you've also made the world a better place. So, and I think that that's good. I mean, obviously that I'm tutorial, that's kind of my goal. But like, seriously, find opportunities. People who are around, if you can ask them like a nice question, even if it's like going to a restaurant, always ask the waiter, what do you recommend? Even if you know what you're gonna order, even if you've been there before, ask the waiter, what do you recommend? There's gonna be maybe 3 or 4 lines of dialogue. Short conversation, yes. It's like a video game conversation dialogue. I'm sorry, that's how I'm thinking about it. But that still counts as experience. And that could lead to something, and maybe you find something interesting out about the person. Like at some point I was at a convention and I went to a restaurant near the convention and found out that my waiter was a huge nerd. And I was like, yes, did you know about this video game cover band, the One-Ups? And he was like, no, but I really like jazz. It was a good conversation. And all because I asked him something about lasagna. So you never know. You never know. So I asked questions about whether anybody had anything they wanted to cover before I made this panel, kind of when I posted about it on Facebook. If any of you saw the Facebook post, thank you. So people were like, how do I talk to non-nerds? Well, okay, you are all nerds, but you are also more than nerds. So if you think about, well, what's something that I like to do that isn't nerdy that this person might know? Or like work. Again, practicing, grinding, and you never know, you might find that that person who looks super non-nerdy actually super speedruns Super Metroid. Like you have no idea sometimes. I mean, some of us wear our nerddom on our bodies like this. Some of us are a little stealthier. But also, if you want to talk to somebody and you think they seem cool and you don't really know about what they like, ask them. You'll learn some things. They'll be happy. Again, you ask them about themselves, they enjoy the conversation. Everybody wins. So somebody also asked about how do I go from an acquaintance to a friend? If I'm like, okay, I've talked to you a few times and I think you're really cool and I'd really like to hang out with you. Oh, look, I just said it. I think you're really cool and I'd really like to hang out with you. Sometimes honesty is the best policy. Now, I will have a caveat. If you're afraid the person might think you're making romantic overtones and you want to avoid that, I'm not making a pass at you. I'm not hitting on you. I really think you're cool and as friends, I'd like to hang out. Literally, say these words. Everything's cool. Or if you're still like, I'm not sure, I think you get along really well with my friends and we go to see the movies. Like we go to see the movies. Words. We go to the movies every Friday. If you're free, maybe this week or next week or something like that, I'd love to have you along. Thank you. 10 minutes left. We're right on time. So there's ways that you can do this that are honest, they're genuine, they're who you are. They say exactly what you're trying to say, and I think that is the best policy in making friends. So hopefully that might be helpful. Our final task for the day, actually, first of all, here, let's go back up. I heard this is apparently a lot of people's first MAGFest. First MAGFest? Raise your hand. Woo! Congratulations! You have the best conversation opener ever. This is my first time at MAGFest. What should I see? This is my first time at MAGFest. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. This is my first time at MAGFest. What concerts can I absolutely not miss? This is my first MAGFest. Where's the bathroom? Like, you have the best opener because people here who's not first MAGFest, these people, they want to welcome you to the family. And those people out there, all however many, 30,000 of them, they want to welcome you to the family too. So you'll make them feel good if you ask them things. They'll be like, oh, I helped a newbie. Yes, I did my good deed for the day. So don't be shy if you're new. That if anything, that makes your life easier for meeting strangers. So finally, here's our final activity. I did not realize how many of you there would be. So I have keychain things. Let me go through the keychain process. For those of you that we can give these to, if one of these categories fits you, these are fandoms or communities that I think if you like this thing and you find somebody else who likes this thing, you're like, yes, friends. So I have these little keychains. These guys. You also have keychain cases. You have little things here and you have pieces of paper. What you do, you can write or draw whatever you want on your piece of paper, put it in your plastic keychain, and affix it with one of these or without one of these to your badge or your bag. So if any of you guys have one of these and you see someone else with one of these, you can be like, you were at the panel. You want to practice talking. I want to practice talking. We are low-level people together. We're going to do this. Make a party. Grind together. Even if it's just like, hi, you were at the panel. What do you like? Cool. Bye. Again, it still counts. Like seriously, those conversations are victories. And the cool thing is you can be like, hey, she likes Mother. and Undertale. It's so subtle, I would never have guessed that she likes Mother and Undertale, but she's got the red thing. So I should talk to her about it. What am I gonna say? Oh man, I should ask her what her favorite, well maybe I'll ask her about her favorite character and see maybe it's not Toriel, And then you come up and you're like, hey, Toriel, I love Undertale, and I also see you have the red thing. Let's talk about Undertale. And you can think about it in advance. That's one of the advantages of this, is that A, you know for sure that the person who has this sort of thing gets it, and you have sometimes a guess. Like, that's why I've got this little piece of paper. You can write a thing about yourself, you can write your name, you can write your favorite thing. You can take these and draw on them, whatever you like to do, and wear it kind of as a badge that indicates that you are. As I know there are some MMOs, I'm not an MMO player, but I know there are some that have like little indications that show, like, hi, do you want a tank for me? I'm new. There will be people who will be happy to, like my NPC friend over here and me, we will be your high-level tanks. We will come over and be like, hey, I see you were at the panel, you want to talk? And there are a few other friends that I have that I've let know this. If you're like, I really don't think I can deal with conversation, you just hide your keychain away. It's kind of like one of those Brazilian steakhouses where you put like the green and they come to you, you put the red, they don't. So if you're like, I feel like having people talk to me, you put it out there, and if you put it on the badge, that's like the first place people look. So you don't have to have it swinging from your badge, but if you do, like, that's a good indication that we're friends. So I don't know if that sounds like fun to you, but if you do, I have these in rainbow order. If none of these apply to you, you can still have the regular keychain. It just means that people might have to ask you what's on your keychain. Conversation. Are there any questions before we descend into madness? We're ready to descend into madness? All right, thank you guys. So, if you guys want to reach out to me, I go by Lauren the Flute literally everywhere online because I play flute. If you want to hear me ramble and sing, I have a concert tonight at 8 with the Returners. But